Hey, everybody. Welcome here to Rockin Robbie Live. Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to Rockin Robbie Live. How is everybody doing tonight? I am excited to be here for a Teen Dog Shades night. Y'all know what that means. We're getting crazy. First of all, thank you for being here. I see a lot of people already in here. So it's a Teen Dog Shades night. We're going to have a lot of fun, but we will still be talking about comic books, movies, television, pop culture, music, and a whole lot more. Once you get in here, sound off, let us know that you're here, and let's get the questions going. This show is fueled by your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, all that jazz and more. We're going to have a good old time tonight. I see Bueller in the house. What's up, buddy? I see Jay Strick in the house, David Hatch, Herminio, Lee, John, Stephanie, Sam Fett, Samuel, Easy Reader, Epoch Reggie, Jesse, Green Man. Lots of the PCP Army in the house tonight. Speaking of the PCP Army, that's our Facebook group. The official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group is the PCP Army. So if you're on Facebook, first of all, like Pop Culture Philosophers, then join the PCP Army. Also, we're on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie. You can check out popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine people right here: David, Alex, Brian, Nelson, Reggie, Josh, Brian, David, Dee Bullseye, Dean, Dunlaney, HC, Jason, Javi, Kenneth, Monmeet, Michael, Mikey, Peter, Robert, Timo, TJ, and William. Thank you all so much for your support. And I am proud to announce that because of y'all's awesome support here with the Super Chats and on the Patreon and all other kinds of cool ways of support, like watching these live streams, participating, liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that stuff, we got it. The microphone has been funded and is on its way. So we really do appreciate that. We're supposed to be getting at this week. It's a brand new microphone, so I can touch it and move it, and it's not going to be too distracting and all that kind of jazzy fun stuff. So if you got any questions, get them in. This is a Teen Dog Shades night, so not too much is off limits. Let's get metaphysical, everybody. You want to talk about aliens? Do you want to talk about Atlantis? Don't worry, I got a whole bit about Atlantis. But don't forget, we're still going to have our normal comic book pop culture conversations. The next segment of Marvel Comics in the 90s will debut tonight here live on the show. I'm going to attempt it live again. Anyway, I hope you did check out my interview with Will over at Hero and the Kid. Hero and the Kid, I was the subject of the Sunday Sit Down, episode number 10, a week before my birthday, which is very exciting for me. That's right, this is the start of Robbie Week. So, yes, there you go. Anyway, we're having a grand old time. Next week we'll have a birthday stream. I'll try to have as many guests on as possible. It's going to be fun. But yes, I did a show with Will from Hero and the Kid today. It was a fantastic show. Will has gotten so much better at these Sunday sit-down interviews, and he didn't start off bad. And he just keeps getting better. He's becoming more confident, more sure of himself. He told me a secret that he ran out of questions at a certain point. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I couldn't tell. This kid just winged like half of the show, and he did it extraordinarily well. Hats off. If I can't because the headphones are on. Plus, it would cause a time continuum warp. But Will did such a great job. Will, you're doing great. Sean, you're doing great. Hero and the Kid. Go and subscribe to Hero and the Kid if you haven't already, and check out the Sunday Sit Down number 10, in which you're truly was being interviewed. In fact, Michael says, great interview with Will. I told my wife it was a Rockin' Robbie evening tonight. I told her I might be able to squeeze her in from 7 to 8 tonight, but I was busy with Rockin' Robbie from 6 to 7 and 8. Wow. Hey, it happens. It happens. Priorities. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here. I really do appreciate that. Herminio, everybody, we appreciate it. Hey, Reggie with the super chat. You know what that means. Thank you so much, Reggie. I really do appreciate it. Reggie wants to know, did aliens create life on Earth? Man, what an interesting way to start Teen Dog Shades night. I think that's an amazing possibility. I think it's definitely a possibility. Life we know, or we don't know, obviously. Hey, Perry's in the house. What's up? Yes, it's the Teen Dog Shades night. How are you doing? We suspect, a lot of scientists suspect that life didn't, like the seeds for life, the organic material, those little bits, those came from space, right? Obviously, the famous Carl Sagan thing, we're all stardust and all that stuff, right? So, like, in a way, space did seed Earth. So we are space seed, right? Kind of like the OLP song, Our Lady Peace. But the idea that some kind of intelligent life seeded the life on Earth. Now, what's interesting to me about this, Reggie, is let's look at the mythological and spiritual practices of our species, throughout our history, right? Like that is kind of the idea. Like, I'm not saying that gods or God or whatever are aliens. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, the idea of gods coming and creating life on Earth is very similar to me to gods and mythological figures doing it, I mean, just to be honest with you. So I can't say for certain, obviously. I think it was a twist of galactic and intergalactic and universal and multiversal fate and glim and nuance. So overall, I would say if I had to give a definitive answer, I would say no, but the actual answer is I don't know, but that is an interesting possibility, and I love it when fiction explores that idea. I love it when pseudo-fiction explores that idea. I love it. So I think it's a cool idea. Obviously, that's the premise behind Prometheus and Alien Covenant and stuff like that. I think it's very intriguing. It leads into ancient alien theory at times. But, I mean, it's an absolute 100% possibility because we can't really think of a good reason why it happened unless it was nudged to happen. I mean, that's what the Kree did, right? Isn't that what So, I don't know. Why not, right? Why not, right? Mikey says, that was a good interview today. Well, thank you. Torso or Jinx? Torso. Torso, I think, is the better one. But I love them both. Thank you, Herminio, and thank you for everybody in the PCP Army that was there and representing in the interview. And yeah, we did have the longest one again, did we? Did we, really? Man, I like to talk. Bueller says, Will is going to rule the comic community in 2 years. Absolutely. That kid's just getting better. His dad's really supporting him. He's getting better. They're all just, they're strong. And they're improving all the time. And they're already taking large steps that took me and some other YouTubers months to get to, if not years. So I think it's I right there with you. That's why we need to get on his good side, Bueller, and we need to stop talking so much shit like we did on that draft. By the way, I did see a comment from Nelson. I don't see Nelson here, but if Nelson's watching the repeat, the X-Men draft video was on the Everything Comics channel. So that's where you can find that. But it was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. And guys, I won. And I also, we're doing another one with the Avengers for May. And I've already got my team. I mean, this one took longer than my X-Men one. It did. There are a lot more people to consider for Avengers. So, but it did take me about 10, 15 minutes. But I got it. It's set. It's set and it ain't going to change. I promise you. I'll show you the photo and it'll be dated. My brother's birthday is 5/10 too. Hell yeah, Easy Reader. That's awesome. And what's really cool is that everybody knows that all my friends that I play poker with or used to play poker with, they knew. And I would always play the hell out of 5/10, in Texas Hold'em. Always. And I would always wind up getting super lucky and pulling like a full house or something. And it worked to my advantage because even when I didn't have 5/10, if 5/10s popped out on the flop, I could bluff the hell out of people, man. Because they'd be like, nobody would play 5/10 but Robbie. But thank you, Reggie, for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. We do got the new microphone coming. I'm very excited. We got a Joker van and we got a microphone all funded within less than a month, y'all. PCP Army, that goes out to y'all. That's awesome. David says, I'm old. I got to ask, what the hell is Teen Dog? First of all, Dave, it's Teen Dog Shades, like the comic book behind me. See, Teen Dog. Teen Dog is a comic book. Came out from Boom Studios. It's like 8 issues long. It's by Jake Lawrence. It's a fantastic, fun book. It's cute, it's charming, it's weird, and at certain times it gets a bit psychedelic and metaphysical, right? So Teen Dog is a super cool dog who goes to school with a bunch of humans, and there are other dogs there, too, that go to school. I mean, dogs can be people, too, right? Why not? But, he likes pizza, he likes to skateboard, he wears these cool shades, as you see on the comic book cover behind me. And so these shades right here are official Teen Dog shades. Where is it? Is it right there where it says it? Yeah, right there. It says Teen Dog logo. These got sent to the comic shop, and I was like, well, let me take them, because I always take any kind of silly little style shades like this. They're silly. Like these ones are from Straight to Ale, which is the local brewery here, which does the beer that I drink every Sunday night, Monkey Knot. I got to somehow spin that into a sponsorship. I'm drinking it already. If you see all the Aquaman paraphernalia, it's because tonight I do have a segment planned on Atlantis. I didn't dive too deep, get it? But I did do some Atlantis research. But anyway, so one day randomly, we did a live stream. I got to peg which one it was because I want to know what the first official one was. But I just, for the hell of it, threw on these shades. They were just laying here. I was about to go live. I was like, let me put on the shades. I put on the shades. Somewhere later on into the stream, somehow we got turned into some ideas about like mythology and spirituality and metaphysicality and things like that. And I was like, well, this is weird, man. I usually don't get this open about this kind of weird stuff. UFOs and aliens too, and conspiracies and things like that. We kind of got into it a little bit that night. I don't remember exactly. That's why I kind of want to pinpoint what night it was so I can rewatch it sometime and see exactly how it unfolded. But it just happened as the universe deemed. And so that night, me wearing these shades, and Teen Dog just so happens to have these random moments in the midst of a very fun, silly, cool, all-ages comic of really insightful, metaphysical, spiritual type stuff, right? Just neat little stuff. Beautiful colors, cool symbolism, and things like that, right? So it just seemed, wow. It seemed like the shades brought it up. We should call this Teen Dog Shades Night. We should actually do it. And then I'd actually have made a concerted effort now to do Teen Dog Shades Nights. And because I feel the spirit move me. And I have a night where I just kind of want to get a little, just technically, if you see me wear the shades, it means we're probably going to be talking about, we could be talking about aliens. We could be talking about ancient civilizations. We could be talking about conspiracies. We could be talking about the existence of life and where it came from and things like that. You saw the first question we got tonight. That's what a Teen Dog Shades Night is. So I hope everybody's got their shades on. We're about to open up memberships for this channel. We're trying to figure out how we want to stack it. But the big thing is you get like an emoji or a symbol or something like that. One of the symbols I'm thinking about is a dog wearing shades. Yeah, Michael, Will did a great job today. No, Share Love T. Alien theory isn't any more far-fetched than that. And that's why Ancient Aliens is a theory that goes. Thank you, Stephanie. She says the draft was entertaining. I had a lot of fun. We were all just talking shit back and forth, and we had a lot of fun with it. And it was one of the absolute most fun things I've seen. So before we go any further and go ahead and get some questions in, and they don't all have to be Teen Dog Shades appropriate, okay, y'all? But it is time for the first 6. These are the first 6 comic books I'm showing off from my personal collection. Tonight we're having a theme. The theme is atomics. We do a first 6 and a final 9 as kind of a tribute and nod to Bob and Bueller on the Comics and Coffee Show, which I do believe is returning tomorrow morning, so I'm very excited for that. Bring back my Monday morning tradition. And they do a first 5 and a final 5. We do a first 6 and a final 9. I realize that adds up to 15, right? That's interesting because there are 15 issues of the Atomics. So, Atomics number 1, I've actually been rereading this as part of my Madman reread, and it's essential. If you love Madman, or if you're trying to get into Madman, you got to read the Atomics. It goes right in between Madman Comics from Dark Horse and Madman Atomic Comics from Image. This is AAA Pop Comics. This is when Mike Allred had his own comic book company. I don't really know if it's completely done or if he still plans on doing some things here and there. But there's Atomics #1. I love it. It feels classic and fun, and a lot of tribute to Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. You'll notice on these covers, there's issue #2 right there. As you see, Madman prominent again, very prominent in the first 4 issues, which is the first story arc. I love me some Mike Allred. #3, featuring It Girl on the cover. She wound up being one of the most popular characters from the Atomics. I always loved Mr. Gum and Zapman. There's #4 right there. This is one of my favorite covers ever. This weekend, we're going to be on Comic Gories. I'm going to be on Boy Who Had 7, that channel. That amazing game show he does, Comic Gories. I hope that something pops up so I can use this cover, because he goes, "My mom ate my dad. How do you think I feel?" That's Zapman, by the way. Here's issue #5. Like I said, if you love especially Fantastic Four, like Silver Age Fantastic Four, you have absolutely got to get this book. And here's issue #6, which is the origin of Zapman. And it all ties into Madman. It all ties in. The street beatniks, the mutant street beatniks, Mod from Hopple, all that stuff. Fantastic. If you've never read it, you got to read it. That's the first 6. So let's see. Speaking of psychedelics, I'm looking forward to Have a Nice Trip coming to Netflix, says Easy Reader. I'm not certain what that is, but it sounds neat. Something that's on Netflix right now, speaking of psychedelic and metaphysics, watch The Midnight Gospel. Holy cow. I've watched 7 out of 8 episodes, and I'm so pumped for episode 8 because I already know what it's about. It's Duncan Trussell. He's a comedian, psychedelic guy, hippie-ish in a way. I'm not super familiar with him, but I had heard about this show because there's a guy I follow named Jason Louv who happens to be, I think it's in episode 5. He plays the bird named Jason. I think it's episode 5. But I really like, I follow Jason Louv, and he's a chaos magician like Grant Morrison and Alan Moore, whatnot, right? So I was like, well, if he's doing it, that's interesting. And apparently Duncan Trussell has a podcast called the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, and he interviews people, and he talks a lot about meditation and magic, ceremonial magic, and existential type questions, especially involving death. And the penultimate episode of season 1, episode 7 I watched last night, is revolving very heavily around death, but in a very lighthearted, fun, and quirky way. And is co-created by Pendleton Ward, who did Adventure Time. So it's so weird because I was talking on a stream, I think with Dylan on his birthday, and Chaos and Comics was telling me it's weird because it's like a podcast while this craziness is happening. And that's what it is. Duncan Trussell plays this kid, or this one character, and he goes off and does a space cast. But it's basically a podcast, and it's really interesting. So you're getting really interesting information in the midst of this crazy story visually happening in front of you, and it's really weird. Midnight Gospel is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's Teen Dog Shades appropriate. It is so good. Pentagon footage, hell yeah. So what happened with the Pentagon this week was they confirmed that those leaked Navy, I think they're all from the Navy, maybe I'm wrong, but when we did a Teen Dog Shades deep dive into aliens like a couple months ago, and not only is that, you can easily spot that Teen Dog Shades night because it's the alien on the thumbnail with the shades on, but I also cut that whole segment where we talked about aliens out. It was like 30 minutes. We went on about aliens. And I brought up that footage for a little bit. And so it was leaked by Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. Remember, he quit the band so he could like go on and do this alien stuff. And so we were like, well, that's interesting and that's cool. But when I watched his podcast with on Rogan, on JRE, I was like, really, like, he seemed like he was full of shit. But it was his like organization, whatever, that caused these things to get leaked. And so it is old news. We've seen this footage before, and someone in the PCP Army, it was Paul. Paul said that it had been debunked, and I've seen things where they say it's been debunked based on how far away they actually are, like they're kind of zoomed in actually, and something like that. But it's kind of a big deal still that the Pentagon confirmed that these are 100% real videos. And what's crazy is that Tom said on that podcast that people in the government came to him and wanted him, because of his notoriety in the media, to leak certain information out to the government, to the populace from the government that would eventually then be confirmed. And then that happened. So it kind of makes me want to go back and rewatch that podcast and pay a little bit more attention, because maybe I'm ashamed to say, like, I take Bob Lazar more seriously than I do Tom DeLonge when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I also think Bob Lazar is probably, I don't know, that's really weird. It's really weird. I completely buy someone making up a story and sticking with it for a long time. But I don't know, because at a certain point, you just got to you just want to leave it alone. I would feel like if you're just making up some bullshit, right, like Bob Lazar or whatever, or the Hills or whatever, right? It was that Betty and Barney Hill. I think if you're just making up some bullshit like that, I really think that after a few years of people coming at you in the way that people come at you when you come out with, this kind of information and this kind of experience, I really think you would just maybe not go out and deny it and say it didn't happen, but you, especially if it was not real, you would just kind of be like, you would just kind of leave it alone. These people kind of stick with it. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not an expert on this stuff. It's just very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. But I think it's a big deal that the Pentagon confirmed that footage was real. We already knew that was real, and I think people in the Navy, like I think the dude that, I can't remember his name, but one of the pilots was actually on the Rogan show and talked, and he seemed very convincing because he seemed like a normal guy. Like, you have a bullshit meter, and my bullshit meter doesn't go off on him. It goes off a little bit on Bob Lazar, but it went off like crazy on Tom DeLonge. But then again, now this has been confirmed by the Pentagon. But once again, it could just be him attaching it. He could be lying. I still feel like he's bullshitting about a lot of stuff. I really do. Something about Bob Lazar throws me off. But that dude who did this footage, who shot the pilot or whatever, one of them, the guy that was on Rogan's show, really, my bullshit meter never went off during that at all. At all. All right, let's see. I can't wait to get the new microphone this week. I'm going to have to experiment with it. There's a possibility I'm going to have to get this thing called a cloud lifter, but if so, I think we got that covered already. But I'm really excited because I like moving the mic. I really do. But yeah, I think it's very, very important that the Pentagon footage was confirmed by the Pentagon. And I also don't think it's a coincidence that it happened in the middle of a international pandemic, because it kind of happened. And a lot of people, this is the thing. Tom from Blink-182 said that people in the government, high officials and like secret covert agencies and stuff, that people that knew things in the government, right? This might be one of those rare all Teen Dog Shades of nights. We still got Marvel in the 90s, don't worry. We're doing Capwolf tonight, so get excited. That's a little teen doggy. One day we're going to go deep into vampires and werewolves, right? Let's do it. Hell yeah. That sounds good. Probably more around Halloween time. I'm getting way distracted right now. This is part of a Teen Dog Shades night, too. You just get distracted. It just happens. I need a new mic stand, too, because this one keeps... See how it... Anyway. See? Way distracted again. The shades make me feel like it's not quite real, because everything is not real. It's all a simulation. We're all in a computer program, right? Are we? Maybe? That's why I really appreciate Will putting up the Matrix. He has the green screen behind him. Today on his show, he did the Matrix thing on the back, and I don't know if that's because he's very much aware of how much I am into the Matrix, like all of the films, and how its connection to the Invisibles. And I got to talk about a little bit with the Invisibles on here on the Kid today, so that was really cool. I was talking about aliens. I was talking about UFOs. I was talking about the Pentagon. But yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that they put it out during this time, because it seems like, Tom said that officials came to him and said, we want you to leak this, then we'll confirm it later. Why? Why do that? Well, because a lot of people already were like, big deal, this footage has already been leaked. So the Pentagon confirms it, and a lot of people immediately go, it's not a big deal. It's already been debunked. Because any piece of information about anything like this is going to be debunked by somebody. It's just the way it goes. I could debunk the existence of gravity if I wanted to. I really couldn't. I mean, obviously not. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? I mean, if you're looking for a way to disprove something, just like all those years I read Spawn looking for a way to hate it, and I hated it, but now that I'm reading it looking for a way to love it, and I love it, well, yeah, it gets a little tricksy there, doesn't it? Fable 1980, how are you doing, Fable? A rising member in the PCP Army, by the way. That's right. Don't forget about the PCP Army. You can join the PCP Army on Facebook. We got a new movie review. This week we're doing, I didn't put together a thumbnail yet. I should have done that, damn it. But we're doing Army of Darkness. So we did, Dylan wanted to do a movie review with us, because during all of this, no new movies. Me and the cats, we're just doing these live streams, and we're doing these PCP Army movie polls. So once a week right now, there's a poll. There's a new poll that's going to debut tomorrow. It's going to be baseball movies. So what happens is that we put up the movies, and the PCP Army votes on them, and the winner we watch, and then we do a live review on Friday night. So this Friday night at 8 p.m. is going to be Army of Darkness, because we did a Modern Horror Classics edition. The first place was Army of Darkness, then it was Tremors, then it was Repo the Genetic Opera, and then down there were like Scream and American Werewolf in London and something else, and I can't remember what the other one was. But they were all really good modern horror, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But Dylan's going to be on that stream with us. So right now planned, it's going to be me, Jelani, Brooks, Jonathan, and Dylan. That son of a bitch. Very excited for it. But anyway, Fable says, what do you do with the comics you review? This is what I do. Since I work at a comic shop, I'm able to read things before they come out. So I take comics home. I take what I want to read home. So I read them, and then I take them back. And the ones I'm subscribed to, obviously, I buy. And then sometimes I say, oh, I want to buy this because it's good, or I want to follow it, or I want to buy this because I think that's going to be important. And then the rest usually go back on the shelves and get sold. And then they wind up in my collection. And then eventually they wind up either being deemed worthy enough to stay in the permanent collection, or they wind up getting put into a PCP mystery box that we do once a year at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. And sometimes, rarely nowadays, very rarely nowadays, I will sell some on eBay. But I haven't done that in a long time. I've been buying more, I'll tell you that much. What run or trade paperback do you think you've read the most? Thinking about this as I'm going back and regarding lots of stuff during these COVID times. Stephanie, definitely have read the Jack Kirby Fantastic Four stuff a lot. I would also say that I have read, let me really think about this. First of all, Fantastic Four. There are issues of the Fantastic Four that I have read probably, literally, dozens and dozens of times, probably upwards of 100 at times. So that's no lie. I'm constantly reading that. I have read Maximum Carnage a lot because I read Maximum Carnage so much when I was a kid. So much. Over and over and over again. I have read the Ultimate Spider-Man run, the first, probably 50 issues by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley, so many times. So that's probably one of them. Hellboy I've read a lot too, especially those early ones. I probably read Seed of Destruction probably 30, 40 times. So, yeah, I would say those ones are the ones that really, really stick out to me. Oh, shit, Rick and Morty comes back tonight, doesn't it? Do you think Rick and... This is why I thought about it. Andrew goes, do you think Rick from Rick and Morty and Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus are Beth's parents? Is that a theory? I never watched the Magic School Bus. That was a little after my time for that age range, but I never watched it really. So, is that a fan theory? And is it because, like, if you combine them, they make Beth or something? That seems interesting. I'm way behind on comments. Let's jump down a little bit. See, I didn't realize we had another super chat, Mikey. He says, quick, hit me with the meaning of life. Well, first of all, thank you so much. Your super chat leads to things like a Joker van and a microphone. Oh, and he cuts it away right before it gets really good. Mikey says, quick, hit me with the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to make your own meaning in life. That's it. Life is meaningless. The universe doesn't care about you. But really, you are the universe. So that means that you got to make it care. That's right. You choose your own meaning in life. That's the secret. Nothing has significance unless you place it upon it. If you don't place significance on something, it doesn't matter, and there has no meaning. So therefore, what you place significance on is the meaning of life. So place your significance on what's going on that you like. Is that the official microphone pictured? Yes. That is the microphone that we are getting. Hey, we got Brian in the house. And once again, Mikey, thank you so much for that super chat. Let's see, we got some talk about the atomics. Yep, I'm way behind. Upload on Amazon was really good. Also about uploading your mind to a VR hotel so your family can come hang out when you're dead. Brian, Will was telling me about that today on the interview that I did. I hope you checked it out. If not, check it out on the Hero and the Kid channel. You can find them linked always on the homepage of the Pop Culture Philosophers YouTube page as Friends of PCP. And they kind of spoiled the surprise if you watch it. We plan on having Jim Mint on Rockin Robbie Live this upcoming Thursday. So get excited. See, I don't think Will knows yet sometimes things that he learns he's not supposed to share. But I think I did say that. I did say it at the end of the draft. So never mind. He gave me shit today because I didn't plug the interview. And by the way, I've missed a lot of comments. This happens on Teen Dog Shades Nights in particular. So, you know, yeah. If I missed your comment, if I missed your question, just pop it back up. But Will gave me shit because I didn't plug it on the weekly pop culture wrap up this morning. But he's right. I forgot to. Totally forgot. But yeah, he told me about Upload. And it sounded really cool. Really cool. Epoch says, seen a few of Grant Morrison's sigil magic presentations. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're interested in magic, ceremonial magic, things like that, you know, if you're interested in that aspect of the surreal, sigil magic is a great place to start. It's where I started. And I mean, I'm just saying, if you watch the DisinfoCon lecture for Morrison and he goes, it works? It really works? I have a terrible Scottish accent. I would concur. And all I can say about sigils is that it works. I don't get in particulars about things, but in my experience, sigils work. Pretty much 100%. As long as you do it within the guidelines of what could actually manifest. I'm telling you. Let's see here. There's a dude called the Prophet Yahweh. Oh, interesting to call him that. The summons the blue orbs. Guess he did it on a live news stream. Well, you know about the children Fatima. That people write off as a mass hallucination. What's going on there? I'm going to write that down because I want to check that out. I'm going to look back because I wasn't paying attention when I was writing it. I'm going to look back. It's going to be a bunch of gibberish. I'll be like, it's like a P, a T, and a Y. I don't understand what that means. So post it in the PCP Army if anybody can. That would be super fun. I'll definitely check it out then. Tyler, I think we're talking about Bob Lazar here. Or are we talking about... Tyler, are you talking about Bob Lazar or are you talking about Tom DeLonge? I rewatched him on JRE. Still got a weird vibe from him, but I think he was mostly on the defensive because Joe was giving him the business. You're talking about Tom. Yeah, he was. He was given the business because I could totally tell that Joe's bullshit meter was going off like crazy. I think people don't want to believe in it because they don't want to deal with it, kind of like the Mandela effect. You think the Mandela effect's real? I'll tell you what. My girlfriend, she thinks the Mandela effect is real. She is hardcore into that Berenstain Bear thing. But I kind of get what they're saying. But I think there's more to learn about memory that's fascinating. I mean, as fascinating as reality changing, obviously. I mean, but then again, if reality is quantum observation, I mean, right? I mean, let's get real about it. When you start getting into weird shit like quantum mechanics, your whole view on reality gets crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What convinced me the most about things like sigil magic, for instance, and that kind of stuff was quantum science. I'm not even kidding. The idea of the probabilistic nature of reality is way more bonkers than anything occult to me. If he was being authentic, I think he was just having trouble with delivery. He was pinging on too many different subjects, making it look like he was dodging questions. It did look like he was dodging questions, Tyler. Talking about Tom DeLonge. But at the same time now, it seems like, maybe there's something to what he's saying. But at the same time, I got a sleazy vibe off of it, man. It's weird. Oh, yeah, I love the Animatrix. Full of shit and not fully informed can seem the same, not to say Tom isn't full of shit. Robbie, you broke the Matrix when you started your comics channel. I hope so. I hope to continue to break the Matrix, y'all. We need a new Matrix. We're getting one, right? Here's my thing. I'm really pumped for a Matrix 4, but I really want Morpheus, so I'm really still depressed that I haven't heard anything about Lawrence Fishburne coming back. So there you go. Hey, Robbie, do you think there's a comic book company that will ever compete with the big two? Image, if anything, but nothing. I don't think anything in my lifetime is going to hit that yet, because it seems like superheroes are still the dominant thing, and until we get more people to realize that comic books are more than just superheroes, not really. But Image is very, very close, especially at the heyday of The Walking Dead, so they just don't have as much line-wide success, right? So it's going to be very hard, but if it's anybody, it's Image right now. But that will only happen when the majority of the comic book industry really starts realizing that comics are more than just superheroes. Nothing against superhero comics. Y'all know me, I love me some superhero comics. But the other companies focus away from that, and I think rightly so, because it should be more than just one genre. In fact, I still would dare to say that DC and Marvel need to do more outside of superheroes, and DC has actually been the stronger of those two as far as diversity, as far as forms of storytelling goes. Hey, Hero and the kids in the house. What's up, buddy? Yeah, Will did a great job. Yep. Sean, you'd be super proud of Will. Will's doing such a great job. Y'all are really... Bueller said earlier that in 2 years he's going to dominate YouTube, and I agree. That's why I told him we need to start taking it a little bit more easier on him on these drafts. But my Avengers draft, oh, man. I already got it. It's good. It's so good, man. Y'all in trouble. But I'll tell you what, I knew Bueller was going to do that. I knew it because I've seen him do his streams with his Portland crew, and he never takes these things seriously. I'm taking mine seriously. I'm imagining for my Avengers draft that I get to write 25 issues of the Avengers using any characters I want. And I build up to a very giant particular threat. So I have a very particular team. It's so good. Trust me. So good. But Will had some great picks. Oh my goodness. He did Kid Omega for rookie, and I almost did that, but I had to throw Maggot some love. Hey, what's up, Brett? How you doing? I gave you a shout out in my interview at Hero and the Kid for the Sunday Sit Down because they were asking about the Three Jokers video, and I mentioned how you were talking about how I should do a new one. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to Hero and the Kid, go do it. You can find them as one of the featured channels on the Pop Culture Philosophers YouTube page, Friends of PCP. You'll see plenty of people there. Bueller, Bob, Jim, Matt, Chad, and of course, Will and Sean. Will the Beast. By the way, the intro that Hero and the Kid did for the Sunday Sit Down blew me away. I was cracking up backstage. That was so amazing. So amazing. You'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it. Don't trust anything, says Chris. And Chris was there on the original Teen Dog Shades night. We were talking about that earlier. When you have moments in life and people talk to you about stuff and suddenly it all changes. And younger people weren't alive for those moments, of course, so it'll get debunked. I mean, it's true. The Mandela effect, hell yeah. Particle is wave, wave is particle, yin and yang. Yeah, absolutely. Look into some quantum mechanics if you haven't already. Look at the double slit experiment, and that alone will blow your mind. And if you want to learn more, I highly encourage you to watch the Nova series. It's called Fabric of the Cosmos. Or if you really want to dive in, read the book by Brian Greene, Fabric of the Cosmos. When I read Fabric of the Cosmos, it blew my mind. So I went back and I read Elegant Universe, which was his first book, blew my mind. And his third book is Hidden Reality, blew my mind. Now he's got a new one, Until the End of Time, and he's getting really into the spiritual nature of some of these thoughts and discoveries. And I'm very excited to dig into that book. But I've been reading a lot of comic books right now. We share a love of The Matrix, and obviously the first film is the best. Well, I don't know if that's quite so obvious, my friend. I don't think The Matrix is the best one of the trilogy. I think Matrix Reloaded is the best one of the trilogy. In particular, because of the scene with the architect. That scene is the crux of The Matrix. Everything rests on that scene. You got to understand that scene to understand what comes after and to fully understand what came before. That's the crux of the entire story. And I also think the action's better, and I think the best action scene in a movie from the 2000 era, the Audis, is that freeway scene in Matrix Reloaded. And the other thing that I kind of, I hate that it's called a hot take to like the Matrix sequels, but it is. But not only is Matrix Reloaded the best film, and not only does it explore and set up more about the underlying thematic nature of the trilogy and the story. I remember where I was going, but it's got a great soundtrack too. Mikey says, great job on the interview, Will. Kicking butt, my favorite yet. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Somebody said that it was the longest, but I don't know if it is. But when I was interviewed by Bueller, it was the longest. I'll tell you that. I love talking with Bueller. He's so cool. I love that goofy laugh he has too. I love making people laugh. And most of my meaner streaks throughout my young adulthood are all related to making Brooks laugh. I'll tell you that. I'll be honest with you. So when I started making Bueller laugh on the X-Men draft, I just ramped up the shit talk and no, but that was great though. Will, I hope you're thinking about your Avengers draft because I got a unstoppable team. Comics is kind of the only place where you can get your superhero fix. Overdressed? Are you serious? Come on, man. Come on. Come on, dog. You serious? There's superheroes all over TV and cinema right now. All over. All over. Video games. You get your superhero fix a lot of places. Obviously, you get the main line from comic books. Obviously. Superheroes are everywhere right now. For right now. You know, and there's always the question, is superheroes just like a Western or a musical? You know, Westerns and musicals used to be super popular, and like almost every film was a Western or a musical, right? Not so much anymore. Is that going to be the same thing? Is the superhero movie just a fad? Well, obviously it's a fad, but how long is it going to last? It seems like it's lasting for a while right now. But you get your most pure superhero fix from comics. But that's not the only place to get it. They're all over the place now. Just watch CW. Half their shows are superheroes. Recently read Black Science. Hate that I wasn't up on it earlier. Good series, in my opinion. Frank, I've always intended to go back and reread all of Black Science. I only read like 7 or 8 issues of that. And I really liked the first arc. But then I just kind of fell out and never got back to it. Rick Remender is one of those writers where, aside from Deadly Class, I like his work so much better reading it by trade. Deadly Class is the only one that I get like excited each issue, right? And I've fallen way behind on that. But so I very early on decided to trade weight that. Now that it's over, I need to get to it. I got the first book, but I need to get on that. Herminia was there for the first Teen Dog Shades night. Oh, the Matrix Reloaded fight scenes are so pure. Hey, what's up, Sleepy Reader 666? That's another YouTube channel you need to celebrate. That's another YouTube channel you should subscribe to. He just recently celebrated 8 years in the YouTube game. Congratulations, Damien. Fantastic channel with some nice knowledge about comic books there. Chris says, you read Have you read the Twin Peaks final dossier book by Mark Frost? Total Teen Dog Shades type stuff such as Jack Parsons, UFOs, Giants, Lewis and Clark, Nixon weirdness, ties it all into Twin Peaks lore. No, I have not. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm writing it down on my notes for Capwolf, so when I do my Marvel in the 90s segment, if I mention Twin Peaks, y'all know why. That sounds really interesting. Twin Peaks is great. I still have not watched the Showtime bit. Read Gary Zukov, Dancing Wooly Masters is all about quantum physics. I'll definitely have to check that out. The Merovingian is a character, and Persephone. Oh yeah, those characters, and they represent something very particular. And they're also, they have, because the Matrix borrows a lot from the Invisibles as well, and the Invisibles is like the PCP Army's holy book of scripture, you know. So if you never read the Invisibles and you like the Matrix, you should definitely read the Invisibles and see what you think. Let's see here. David says, I stopped watching The Matrix after I took the blue pill. Fable says, that draft was fun. Thank you. I had a lot of fun doing it. Mikey says, happy to hear you say that about Reloaded. I liked it the most and think it has the best moments. I see favorite and best as separate. The first film had a bigger impact on culture. 100%. 100% right, Mikey. And not only that, but that is an absolute tenet of pop culture philosophers. If you go back and listen to any podcast we do, when we do the top fives, John always makes a point. By the way, John made his first appearance on screen, and who's my host on the podcast. John made his first appearance on screen on the Johnny Dangerously movie review that we did live. So that was very exciting. So old school fans especially, gotta check it out. But he always makes sure to note to the audience that we're talking about top 5 favorite, not top 5 best. That's different. When I think of best, I'm thinking critically. When I'm thinking favorite, I'm thinking as a fan. Hey, we got a super chat from John. And Herminio's excited because you know what that means. Once again, John, thank you so much. I'll get to your question or your comment in just a second. But thank you so much. We just recently got the Joker van, and we have funded the microphone. It's all because of super chats like yours and our Patreon supporters. So thank you all so much. That's right. Thank you, John. Working towards new goals. All right. Thank you, John. John says The Lawnmower Man is a prequel to The Matrix. I've seen that fan theory. I haven't actually looked into it to see how it's supposed to relate to it, so that's kind of interesting. The Lawnmower Man is a fan that I liked when I was a kid, but I never understood why. And then I watched it as an adult, and I was like, I really don't know why I liked it, that film. That was not good. But it does got some interesting ideas. Worlds within worlds. The power. The Matrix draws on all the best sci-fi from all media. Absolutely, Sleepy Reader, because it's not just The Invisibles. They borrow a shit ton from The Invisibles, but they borrow so much from anime and manga. They've got their own stamp to it, the Wachowskis do. I love the Matrix films. I love all three of them. I love the Animatrix, and I'm super pumped for 4. Stephanie says, did you see Equilibrium? Yeah. Not only did I see Equilibrium, Stephanie, but when Christian Bale got cast as Batman for Batman Begins, and everybody was like, I just don't know about it. I was like, y'all need to watch Equilibrium. This dude's going to do it. I love Equilibrium. That's a great movie. Plus, let's be honest, I got a big soft spot for Taye Diggs. I really do. And so any movie with Taye Diggs, I'm automatically going to pay attention to. Taye Diggs and Nicky Katt. And when they were together in Way of the Gun, there's no way I'm not going to like that movie. Equilibrium's amazing. It's a great sci-fi movie in an Orwellian type way, especially. And if you like those kind of things, if you like Teen Dog Shades Nights, guess what? You should totally 100% check out Equilibrium. It's great. Hey, Bob is here from Everything Comics. He says, good evening, Robbie. Sorry I'm late. Oh, you're never late. You're always right on time, Bob. I was Filipino with Bueller? Filming, I bet, is what you mean. Okay. I was filming with Bueller, and I had to watch the Sunday sit down with the kid before I stopped in. Better late than never. Oh, yeah, hell yeah. And dude, didn't Will do so great? No, secret. Will says he ran out of questions halfway through the interview. Could you tell? I couldn't. That kid's a natural at this. When you know how to wing it, that's when you know you made it. That's when you know you can do it. But Bob, thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to the Avengers one. Since you just got here, I've been already starting the shit talk because I've already figured out my Avengers team. I did in like 10, 15 minutes, and it's solid. And it's not what everybody's thinking. It's not going to be just X-Men Gold again. Hey, what's up, Dodora? Hey, Mike is here again. Gattaca is an amazing movie, Mike. Yeah, thank you for reminding us about that one. That's the best movie I've ever seen about clones, is Gattaca. Gattaca with Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. I cannot remember who the director was. Absolutely fantastic. Everything Comics says, I'm going to give you a run for your money this time. You better, because you were trailing, homie. I mean that with all respect due. You should have just gone the Daredevil alternate route. You probably would have gotten more votes. Oh, Lordy. Chris says, dig the shirt. I have an Eye of Providence inlay carved in mother of pearl on the headstock of my base. It's a flying V headstock, so it looks like a pyramid. Super cool, Chris. Yeah, it's like Robert Anton Wilson always said. I like to view the world as one great conspiracy led by a certain secret group of highly powered and motivated individuals, and I like to think of that group as me and my friends. That's why I wear this shirt. That's why I like the Illuminati imagery, because I think the Illuminati, for the most part, is kind of bullshit, but there's an essence of truth to it. However, if you live your life like you and your close circle are the Illuminati, just see what happens. Just see what happens. Equilibrium sort of came out around Matrix Reloaded. It was forgotten, I think, due to the tsunami that is the Matrix. Probably, yeah. And it was way under the radar, but it has some great stuff. Yeah, Gun Fu. It's great stuff. I do not remember the old movie Millennium. I remember the Chris Carter series Millennium, but I haven't seen that since it first aired, and I didn't like it when it first aired, but maybe I'll like it now. Sean Bean died in that movie, too. That cracks me up so much. Oh, that's good stuff. Let's see. How solid is it, Robbie? Did you win the X-Men? How solid is what? I'm trying to see what we're referencing. I'm so far behind. Because of the time delay, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see here. Just saw Sam Bob. He's alive and well. Hell yeah. Good. Sam's Tangled Web. See, yeah, I'm confused by some of these comments, but it happens. Another sci-fi film some may have not seen, I felt was novel and well acted as Existence. I'll tell you one thing. My favorite movie genre is usually horror. And obviously, it seems like I like a lot more sci-fi too, but Will asked me my favorite genre, and I said horror. I think I threw him off. He barely asked me about Star Trek. I was really surprised. And when he asked me about my toys, by the way, I forgot to mention that I'm massively into Power Ranger toys. That's like the majority of my toy collection is probably Power Rangers, and I completely forgot to mention it. And yes, Epoch, I won the X-Men draft. Oh, how solid is my Avengers list? Is that what we're talking about? It's solid. It's good. Robbie, I remember Vader on The Empire Strikes Back saying, Luke, I am your father, but it's now changed to I am your father. No, it's always been like that. It's always been I am your father. People just misremember. That's what I think the Mandela effect is. I think it's more interesting to know about, let's be honest, memory's not trustworthy over time especially. It's really not. Like, things can happen, and I remember it one way very shortly after even, and it's been proven to be different. And so, I don't know. I think it's just that kind of a thing. Andrew Niccol was the director of Gattaca, I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe, but I'm always ahead of you guys. I hear the new Invisible Man is good. Did the Dream Team X-Men post? Yeah, it's out, Chris. It's on the Everything Comics channel. You can find the Everything Comics channel by typing in Everything Comics or just going to the Pop Culture Philosophers YouTube homepage and listed as featured channels, the Friends of PCP, you'll find Everything Comics. Speaking of Everything Comics, he says, I watched something on Netflix the other night that was horror-based, that was messed up, and it's still messing with me. A movie called The Platform. I'll have to check that out, too. I'm just going to have this mass of random notes here. Hey, we got a super chat, everybody. Chairlift T for the 279 CA. What is that? Is that Canadian? I have no idea. 279 is a great number. I like that number very well. Playing the doodle game, give me something random. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Are you saying that you want something random to doodle? To just draw? How about a snake with 3 heads that are a lion and 2 heads that are a ram? That sounds random to me. Sailing in a ship in a lava flow. I don't know what the doodle game is, but yeah, that's random, right? I think a lot of times things like SNL skits and the telephone game are responsible for those misconceptions. Yeah, that's a real thing. We just did the Johnny Dangerously movie review, and there's a bit in there about the telephone game. Basically, hey, Comics Misexplained is in the house. Oh damn, the shades are on. You know it. You better put yours on too, buddy. Favorite horror comics off the top of your head? Ooh, Hellboy, Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, and of course Len Wein. Afterlife with Archie. Lock and Key is a little bit more dark fantasy, but I still count it. I love the old school EC stuff like Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror and Haunt of Fear and all that kind of stuff. Infidel is a really great one that came out from Image. It was like a 5-6 issue series. It wrapped up. That's great. The Savage Shores is a great historical horror that I really, really liked. A current one that's probably one of my favorites is Gideon Falls, followed by The Plot. So, Off the Dome, there you go. Chris Farley says, Luke, I am your father in Tommy Boy. Yeah. It's because that's how everybody remembers it. Luke, I am your father. But he goes, I am your father. In a few years, it's going to be, your father is me. Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan lied to you. It's going to be redone again. And then he's going to go, McClunky. Good enough. I guess so. Okay. Moonshine is a great horror comic. That's the Brian Azzarello one about the moonshiners that are also werewolves. Favorite sci-fi horror film? A film that is both science fiction and horror. I would have to give that to Alien, followed by The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing in particular. If you ever have a chance, look up the Talk is Jericho podcast and listen to the Mandela Effect episode. Yeah, I know that podcast. Chris Jericho, right? I was a fan of Y2J back in the day. Ice Cream Man's a great one, too. Oh, yeah, Infidel was awesome. What's up, Kirby? But, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I'd be like, why did I write down Chris Jericho Mandela and Nelson Mandela? McClunky, hell yeah. Speaking of McClunky, we're about to take a quick break. That's right, we're at the first break here on our Teen Dog Shades night. We've already had a lot of fun. We got a lot of fun continuing. Don't worry. We're coming right back. We'll be getting into a little bit more of your questions, talking about some stuff. Oh, yeah, the Dollhouse family's amazing. Vampire State Building had some promise. I only read the first issue, though, so I got to get back into that. But get your questions in. Teen Dog Shades appropriate, whatever. But coming up in the second half of the show, we got lots of goodness. We got, y'all ready for this? Marvel Comics in the 90s. What is Marvel Comics in the 90s? It's my brand new show that I'm doing here live and then cutting together to release on YouTube, so you always get it live here on Rockin Robbie Live. But not next week, because next week's going to be different. However, because don't forget, next week's my birthday. We're doing a birthday bash. It's my birthday. So this is the official start of Robbie Week. It was Rockin' Robbie Live. We're about to take a break. We're coming back with Marvel Comics in the 90s. We're coming back with our top 5 favorite superhero video games pre-2000. So 1999 and below. Superhero comic book video games. I got a top 5 list. Start thinking about yours. That's the question of the week. Then, of course, we'll be talking about Atlantis and a whole lot more fun. Enjoy the break. Since it is a Teen Dog Shades night, I figured it's going to be a lot of surreal stuff that we talk about. So here's the song that I did as the Basement Show. If you checked out Hero and the Kid today, he asked me a lot about my music career, if you can call it that. But this is me, my homie Kevin, this Contact and Skeptic, as the Basement Show. This song's called Surreal.
Another one. Pay attention, sons and daughters of the revolutionary era's just begun. Put on your AF1s, this road we travel on. Not for the faint of heart, so grab a friend, she'll tag along. Walk down the street in any ghetto, see what life's about, then turn around and block it out. Hip-hop ain't dead, it's underground. For ages, sages relay phrases, stories handed down. And history teaches us the past, it tends to stain the ground. Repeating echoes, screaming, making no sound. Distorted ripples trip as time slows down. Wake me when it's over, cause I need to sleep now. These visions kinda blurry, man, my head's in the clouds. Some people think that's it, what life's all about. Ignore the truth, it's fucking crazy, lights out. But still they walk around and round and round about. They high off ignorance and drunk off doubt. Surreal, sometimes this life is. You're living in paradise, yeah. And it must be nice. I'm tired of all the shadows, so we fight the night. So real, sometimes this life is. You're living in paradise, yeah. And it must be nice. I'm tired of all the shadows, so we fight the night.
The vision of the last days, the mass craves alongside the fast lanes. The past came, it divided and it conquered, like Lexington and Concord. Crushed all in its weight, now it's moving steady onward. Back all the days of black and white simplicity. Can trust what I say, based solely on integrity. Basement show, relaying the foundation. We making hip-hop safe for future generations. Your rappers are liable to keep music tribal, with beats from the soul and lyrics so vital. We find though their line holds, taking over radio, reply on the bio. Just turn off that video, listen to their sound. They don't respect your dreams, we bring them to the ground. We take away the wings, the headed gold is battled on. And when it falls, we'll travel on a journey that may take beyond just on the Velvet's gravel song.
So real, sometimes this life is. You're living in paradise, yeah. And it must be nice. I'm tired of all the shadows, so we fight the night. So real, sometimes this life is. You're living in paradise, yeah. And it must be nice. I'm tired of all the shadows, so we fight the night. This mental block's got me confused about the purpose. The reason why I even try and spit these verses. I'm broke as fuck, ran out of luck too long ago to surface. This underground inhabitant wreaks havoc on my nerves, bitch. Frontal lobotomy rewired me half-heartedly. So I retardedly did ponder this philosophy. Indulge in self and chase that paper's what they tell me. No need for thought, brainwashing with the telly. Fulfilling dreams is not my purpose, it's my enemy. I'm just a sheep, I need release from the powers that be. Then I awoke as if reviving it. Autopsy stared at Dali Salvador and realized this life's a metaphor. For what I don't know doesn't matter to me anymore. This surreal life, so one we're given unresponsible for. So real life, this is so real life. So real life, this is so real life. So real, sometimes this life is. Living in paradise, yeah. And it must be nice. I'm tired of all the shadows, so we fight the night. So real, sometimes sometimes this life is. You're living in paradise, yeah. And it must be nice. I'm tired of all the shadows, so we fight the night.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers. It's Rockin Robbie Live, the second half for this episode on May the 3rd, 2020. That's right, the start of Robbie Week. My birthday is next Sunday. So for Rockin Robbie Live, we're doing something really special. And I'm asking everybody out there, and if any of my fellow community YouTubers are out there, I'm asking everybody. I got a bunch of the Excitable PCP crew I want to come in. And then I got some YouTubers I want to come in. I just want to have a bunch of guests come in throughout the whole show and just chat with me and have fun and do a fun diddly-daddly on my birthday. So that's the plan for next week. So don't expect anything super fantastic or super cool, except for just a bunch of exciting guests, which is even better than the normal Rockin Robbie Live. So we can't really go anywhere, do anything. So I want to celebrate my birthday here live with everybody. Speaking of here live, this is the studio we do our podcast at. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can also find our podcast here on YouTube, and you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio. They're all over the place. Are we on Spotify? I got to make sure we're on Spotify. You can follow me personally on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, follow Pop Culture Philosophers. And if you are on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. In there, we share fun comic book news and funny images, and I think they're called memes nowadays and things like that. But it's always a grand old time in the PCP Army. And if you want to help support the channel, you can do so with a super chat. You lead to us getting cool things like the Joker van and the new microphone, which is coming in. So when I do this, it doesn't sound like that. So I'm very excited. And yes, any super chat will bring out the Joker video, and as they progress, they'll get longer. So be warned and be ready. But anyway, thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate the support. If you want to go a little bit further, you can do so at patreon.com/PCP, and you can join our fellow patrons. As of now, we got David H., we got Alex, we got Brian W., we got Nelson, Reggie, Josh, Brian A., Brian S., David G., DD Bullseye, we all know who that is, Dean, Dunlaney, HC, and I got to give a big shout out to HC, my man, Jason, Javi, Kenneth, Monmeat, Michael, Mikey, Peter, Robert, Timo, just let me know, TJ, and William. Thank you all so much. Really do appreciate the support. And welcome to Rockin Robbie Live. Second half, we got a lot coming up. And it, of course, is a Teen Dog Shades night. That means we get a little metaphysical. We get a little bit into maybe a conspiracy nature. We talk about UFOs and aliens. We've been talking about that already. We got a whole presentation planned out about Atlantis and ancient civilizations. So y'all just hold your horses, because we're getting to that. But we also got A top 5 coming up tonight. Top 5 favorite comic book superhero video games pre-2000. So 1990 and before. Favorite superhero comic book. So like Mega Man's a superhero, but it's not based on a comic. You get what I'm saying? So think of your favorites. And when we get to that segment, please do share them. And we also got Marvel Comics in the 90s coming up. And we'll see. We'll see how I do this week. It's a bold move, I think, to decide to do a whole new show and to do it live as part of a live stream and then put it as its own video, but, whatever. I see everybody was talking about our favorite horror comics, Redlands. Hell yeah, Chris, that's a good book. It's very unnerving. Kirby, I read the first issue of The Whispering Dark, and I don't really remember much about it, so maybe I need to go back and reread the trade. David says you only get a week, referring to Robbie Week. He says he gets a whole month. Well, happy David month, my friend. Everybody, more importantly than Robbie Week, it's David month, everybody. Snyder's Witches is amazing. I had our copy, my lady's copy of Witches signed by Scott Snyder when I met him last October. Plunge is good, Big E. I got to see how it continues, but it's good. It's good. It's hella good. How about the We Are the Champions song? I always remember it ending with Of the World. Does it not? Of the World. Does it not? But it does it in the Mighty Ducks movie, but that's not how it ends? Huh. Herminio's into the Mandela effect. I'll tell you this. I do somewhat remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the early 90s. What? Which is where the effect gets its name from, is from that belief that a lot of people have. Now, what I think is, I got to do my research, but I would say somebody famous died in prison, some political figure, while Nelson Mandela was released or something was going on at the same time, and things get mixed up. Like the Shaq movie, right? Or the Sinbad movie, right? So, it's the Sinbad movie where he plays the genie, but it's actually Shaq, right? I don't know. Something like that. Who remembers? Because if reality just changes, and this is what I was saying, Herminia, I'm not against the Mandela effect. I personally may choose not to believe it, but maybe I just choose to believe it so I don't get filled with too much existential dread. By the way, if you are dealing with that, definitely watch The Midnight Gospel on Netflix. I tell you, the most important animated series you'll watch this year or this month. I'll tell you that much. Of the week, be the most important animated series you watch that day. I promise you. Watch all 8 episodes. Amazing. Well, I haven't watched episode 8 yet, but I'm very excited. Anyway. But I mean, I'm for it. I'm for the idea, the possibility of something like that, because when you look and you lick into quantum theory and quantum mechanics and things like that, there's a probabilistic nature to reality. And so, yeah, I do, and it's been proven through quantum mechanics that things can actually affect the past, because in the world of physics, past and present, the flow of time is not something defined by physics, if that makes sense. It all works no matter what. This being the idea that we're getting Teen Dog Shadesy. And by the way, welcome to Teen Dog Shades Night, Dylan. Dylan, you son of a bitch. My man. I hope you join us next Sunday night, buddy, for my birthday stream. I want you on the entire night if you can be there. I would love for you to be my co-host. Obviously, I don't know your schedule. So, Dylan, I want you on my stream next week as my Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson for my birthday. So whatever you can contribute as far as time, please do so, my man. It would be the best birthday gift ever. And Army of Darkness won the poll, Dylan. So Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. your time, Eastern. Army of Darkness. So watch it. You got to rewatch Army of Darkness this week, Dylan. And we'll chat about it. We got Dylan. We got me. We got Jay Strick. We got Jelani, and we got Brooks, the Mario Master. Yeah, Free Comic Book Day was supposed to be this week, right? It's supposed to be yesterday. Work was very surreal yesterday because of it. Retail shops are allowed to open in our area, but we're not opening yet. We just want to see how this all plays out. We're still doing the curbside service, mail order, and all that stuff. So if your shops aren't open and you need something, especially any of the new DC comics that are coming out, just let me know. Through any of our social media outlets, IG, Facebook, whatever. Twitter, at the Rockin Robbie. We'll hook you up. Also, Mike06 on Instagram. You can message him if you need something too. But Free Comic Book Day, the plan right now is that it's coming back in August. Dylan, I started watching your top 10 horror book and then a video, and then I had to go to the damn store, and then today was all day. All day I'm making that damn intro I did. So I hope those that were here when we first entered the show, I hope that you appreciated the Teen Dog Shades Night specific introduction that I did, opening bit. It will repeat at the end of the show for those that missed it. I almost contemplated doing it again for the mid-break, but I didn't want to stay away too long. I had to come back. Now, Dylan, my birthday is on Sunday. It's on May 10th. But if you can't be there, just let me know. But I would love, if you can be there, I would love for you to be there. And I would even love for you to be my co-host for the entire event. My MC in a way. My co-MC. But even if you're available late, just let me know, buddy. I plan on going for a minute that night, just kind of celebrate my birthday. But yeah, Dylan, I'll probably go do that when I'm done with this stream. Is I'll go watch because Dylan just did a top 10 horror comics, and I watched a little bit. I saw Hotel. I got up to Hotel, but then I had to go, so I'm going to come back and check those out. And Dylan, don't forget to check out the interview I did with Hero and the Kid today. Will did amazing. I mean, I may be biased, but I think it was his best interview yet. But Dylan will always, always hold the elite treasure that is being the first interviewee of the Sunday Sit Down. So let's get some questions in. I'm sure some questions have come and gone. I'm going to try not to stress myself too much tonight by trying to get caught up on comments. So, like, seriously, if I missed your comment, just throw it back out again. If I keep missing it, just throw it back out again. If I miss it too much, like, I don't know what to do. Highlight it like Dylan does. He says, I thought your birthday stream is next Friday. No, it's Sunday, buddy. Saturday night midnight show? Oh, I don't know about that. What time you get off on Sunday nights? Maybe we'll start late. What if we start late? What time you get off? What time? You tell me what time you're available. If you want to co-host, I'm sure the PCP Army doesn't mind a late night. Maybe they will. I don't care. It's my birthday. I just don't. Yeah, I think maybe Saturday leading up to it. I don't know. I just like the idea it's the same night as Rockin Robbie Live. You're probably at work right now. So we should do Saturday. Now I'm thinking hard about this. Maybe it's going to be Saturday. What time? You start at 9 p.m. on Sunday. Damn. Well, we start at 7, Dylan. I mean, but that's 7 my time is 8 your time. Oh, yeah, that's not enough time. Damn. Damn. I got to rethink my whole shit right now. I don't have time for that. I got 3 segments to do in addition to answering y'all's questions. Damn. Dylan, I'll be in touch with you. I got to let that go for right now. I'll figure that up. Figure that up? What? What? Figure that up. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm distracted. It means it happens on the Teen Dog Shades night. Someone can distract me with anything right now, probably, to be honest. Damn, Dylan. Maybe we should do the midnight thing. Maybe me and you should do a midnight thing. Man, damn it. I wish I would have told you. You should have. I wish I would have. We could have. Damn. I wish my birthday was on Saturday. Because I got to stream Saturday, too. Yeah. I said I was going to leave it, and I'm not. Now I'm just wasting time on the stream. Ha! Mike says, Dylan, that was an awesome top 10. Hell yeah. Easy Reader says, are you going to do another Marvel movie ending this week too, Robbie? I guess you're referring to the post-credit scene that I did on the Wednesday night pop-up random surprise Rockin Robbie Live. I did it that night because I was feeling loose and free, and we hit a certain level on Super Chats, and I deemed it necessary because it kept calling out the Joker video. I don't know if it's gonna. Yeah, the Joker video. Yeah, David says focus. I need to focus. No, it's not gonna be a 5-hour night tonight. Let's see what Nicholas says. So anybody that doesn't like the way a Teen Dog Shades night knows, at least I let you know on the thumbnail. It's a Teen Dog Shades night, you know? Someone throw some Teen Dog Shade questions out. Come on. Y'all just be like, come on, get to Marvel in the 90s. Get to Marvel in the 90s. I keep delaying. The pressure I'm giving myself is the pressure all these Aquamen are giving me. The longest we've gone is 3.5, basically. I think that was the last Teen Dog Shades night, to be honest with you. All right, Nicholas says, hey, Robbie. First time I've managed to watch a live show. I'm on a night shift at work in the UK. Hell yeah. How about a shout out to immortalize me on a YouTube video? Nick Hewitt. Nick, thank you so much for joining us on a late night in the UK. I really do appreciate it. Some of my favorite comic books, movies, and music come from your area. And I really appreciate you, your culture, and everything you've given to pop culture. Thank you so much. Nick Hewitt from the UK, here for the first time. First time, long time listener, first time caller. Nick Hewitt. Glad to have you here, buddy. I'm glad I can give you the nice, cool sounds at night. You know, for a long time, I wanted to be a radio DJ, and I still kind of do. And I want to be that late night guy to be like, hey, everybody, come on down and listen to the sounds of some Foghat tonight. We're getting groovy, drinking out of a Dixie cup, and reading some Teen Dog. And Play-Doh. What? Push the discount for PCP Army. Mike, is that official? All right, let's do it. I work at a comic shop. It's called The Deep Comics and Games. You can find us on Facebook, Deep Comics and Games. You can email us, thedeepcomics@yahoo.com. You should let me know this, Mike. I would have made a whole graphic. Anyway, if you buy anything from our shop and you're brought there from this channel, you can use the code PCP Army May 20 to get a 10% discount on anything. There you go. And I'll make a more appropriate graphic for that next time. Nick says, thanks, dude. Much appreciated. Always watch your shows and love the knowledge you have on comics. Well, thank you, Nick. I really do appreciate you watching the shows. That's the best avenue of support we got. It's people watching the shows, checking them out, appreciating them, coming back for more. Tyler says, I'm not much of an anime guy, but I am rewatching Full Metal Alchemist. Some Teen Dog Shades themes are in there. I've never watched that or read it. I should definitely do that. Eric says, all hail Nick, the hero of the day, and we all bow our heads in great respect and joy. We do not have a Kraken on our store window. Maybe we should, but we don't. And you don't buy. We don't have a website to buy comics. We have an eBay store. I think it's Deep Comics. I think so. You can. Mike will let you know that. Whatever, Mike. I didn't know we have finalized it. Right. But Herminio, if you need anything, you can just message me personally. I'll take care of it. Teen Dog question from David Hatch. Does Teen Dog travel around in a hippie van and solve fake supernatural crimes with a group of dysfunctional teenagers? No, he does not. He goes to an average school, has some really cool friends, and they have just regular-ass times. And that's what we do here, right? On a Teen Dog Shades night. Do you know who else was a teen dog? Captain America. Y'all ready for this? I don't know if I am right now, to be honest. Let's see how this goes. I gotta loosen up, y'all. Yeah, David, you are confusing him with another one. Nick says, this channel has brought me to so many others and really did enjoy you chatting with Dylan Comics recently. Yeah, Dylan's my dog. Dylan's my dog. Eric knows what's up. So this week on Marvel in the 90s, we're going to be talking about Capwolf. Marvel Comics in the 90s. Capwolf is an infamous and famous story from Captain America from 402 through 408, written in 1992. It was written, first of all, by Mark Gruenwald. Mark Gruenwald was the writer of Captain America for 10 years, 1985 to 1995. He also wrote Squadron Supreme. In this story, a werewolf attacks, and so Cap starts investigating because Man-Wolf, who is his pilot, also happens to be gone. He investigates with Dr. Druid because Dr. Strange is not available, and that doesn't make Dr. Druid look good. Then this dude, Moon Hunter, shows up when they find their first werewolf and shows up and completely breaks the party. He's got razor wire hair. How cool is that? Then he finds out that he's working for Nightshade, who is turning people into werewolves because of this dude named Dreadmond. Dreadmond has the Moon Gem, which originally turned Jameson into the Man-Wolf. Wolverine is also hunting this werewolf killer, and he gets captured, and even though they can't turn him into a werewolf, they turn him into a subordinate. Dreadmond uses hypnotism power, and him and Captain America have their first fight of this story, right? And it's a great fight. Wolverine wins. Captain America is captured, and they decide they're going to inject him with this werewolf serum because they're turning this whole town into werewolves, and thus we get Capwolf. So Captain America turns into a werewolf. Of course, he can't be controlled, so he escapes. Therefore, Wolverine versus Capwolf. That's right, round 2. Cap wins this time, gets away. Meanwhile, Dr. Druid confronts Dreadman, and he completely gets owned in a psychic battle. He eventually gets sacrificed so he can unlock the true potential of the Moon Gem. Captain America goes back to the villain's headquarters, finds a pit of vampires. He fights Man-Wolf, who happens to be the alpha male, and now he convinces all the vampires through a very heroic Captain America werewolf speech. I keep saying vampires. Oh, my God. Anyway, they get him free. And they go off to attack Dreadman and to stop him in what he's doing. And so he's trying to use the Moon Gem, and he does it. He unlocks his full power and becomes Starwolf. Oh my goodness. It's all worth it because of Starwolf. Starwolf is the best. He's unlocked the full potential of the Moon Gem. Cable, by the way, because Feral is gone, because all werewolves in the Marvel Universe are being brought to this. He finds Feral. She's brought to this space. Cable shows back up. This dude brings that Wolverine. I'm losing it right now. I really am. Man-Wolf shows up, convinces this doctor to make an antidote. And by the way, Dr. Druid's not actually dead. And then Captain America shows up and rips the Moon Gem out of the Star Wolf, and it's all said and done and over, and then they eventually cure him. So I kind of fumbled through that just a little bit. I probably made the images just a little fast. But yeah, I read the Cap Wolf story, and it's pretty fun. I had a lot of fun with it. Now, it's looked as one of maybe the weak Cap stories, right? Now, first of all, let's give mad props to Mark Gruenwald, who not only created and wrote the Squadron Supreme book, which we covered on the Comics Revisited, but he also did this Captain America run that lasted 10 years. Now, let's talk about that. We got the greatest runs of like people that have stood with their characters for a long, long time, right? We're talking about Chris Claremont on the X-Men. We're talking about Peter David on the Incredible Hulk. We're talking about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby on the Fantastic Four. Extended runs. Mark Gruenwald did a 10-year run on Captain America. And Captain America wasn't the best-selling comic book of the time, right? So it was almost a shame because Gruenwald was doing such amazing things. He was trying to make Cap stand out on his own with his own rogues gallery, but there's only so much you can do with Red Skull, right? But by the way, he wrote one of the best Red Skull stories because in the Acts of Vengeance that happened pretty much, I think, right before this, there's a great story where Magneto comes and just kicks the Red Skull's ass, right, because of his involvement in the Holocaust. But the Man and Wolf story from Captain America, the Cap Wolf story. So people make fun of it, and they're like, oh, remember that time they turned Captain America into a werewolf? How silly, how silly. No, it was awesome. It was great. It was fantastic. It's really fun. It's really good. This is 1992. So last week we talked about Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man 1990. We're talking about 2 years later. And Gruenwald has been writing Cap this entire ass time. This entire ass time. And he's done great stuff. The Bloodstone Hunt, first appearance of Crossbones. He's building up a rogues gallery. He's doing interesting things. And there are things in this story with D-Man and Diamondback that I didn't really mention because I should have made those images way longer. Because I totally botched that. I'll learn that better for next time. So if you're watching this on the replay, like, sorry about that. We do this live. But Captain America, Man and Wolf, I actually like this story. I think it's really cool. It touches on some decent themes, but it's Captain America turning into a werewolf. Plus, like I said, Captain America, even though it was a high-quality book at the time, wasn't selling a lot of copies. We're talking about 1992. We're talking about the age of Spider-Man and the X-Men. If it wasn't an X book or a Spider book, it didn't sell in Marvel in the early 90s for the most part, unless it had a holofoil cover or a chromium cover or a foil cover, but that was the only one that did. But these stories are absolutely amazing. I actually have every single issue, just recently bought them. I love it. So even though it's not the most popular story, they were obviously trying to tap into trends, right? So they tap into their trends. They got Wolverine in the story, and it's cool, right? And the artist is actually, it's pretty solid. It's late 80s, early 90s art that you would typically find. I'm going to open one up so I can actually know the artist's name. Rick Levins. I knew that. Rick Levins. Anyway, really good book. Really liked it. I think it's fun. And they obviously capture on the popularity of the X-Men books by involving not just Cable and Wolverine, but Feral and Wolfsbane. Because Wolfsbane's one of the werewolves that are led to this town. So this town has all these wolves that are led to them, right? And it's really cool, really fun stuff. Wolfsbane's there. Werewolf by Night's there. Man-Wolf, of course. Man-Wolf gets cured at the end of the story. And what's really interesting is that the story is 6 parts, and Cap is still a wolf. And then there's the next issue where it's like the final fate of Cap Wolf. And it's the Infinity War tie-in where he fights his doppelganger, his evil Infinity War doppelganger, and it's the quickest little thing in the issue. And also there's this Diamondback story throughout that's being led up and through. A 10-year run on Captain America. When I read Man-Wolf, this Cap Wolf story, first of all, I enjoyed it. Second of all, it made me want to read, and not only read, but collect the entirety of 10 years of Mark Gruenwald on this book. And people talk about Captain America against the supernatural force, these werewolves, and what's crazy about this book, and I love this book because it has all these werewolf characters in the MCU or my bad, in Marvel Comics, in their universe, are brought to this town, like Starksboro or something, Massachusetts or something like that. But I love how they use everybody. Werewolf by Night's in there, Feral's in it, Wolfsbane's in it, and even more. And it was so much fun. John Jameson, obviously the son of J. Jonah Jameson, who was the Man-Wolf. And he's the one, he got turned into the Man-Wolf by the gym, then he gets turned into the Wolf by the formula. And then, anyway, in that Infinity War tie-in, they do cure both Cap and John, but John only for a little bit. John was Captain America's pilot for a while, went missing at the same time the werewolf killings were happening. And it led to the Three's Company misinformation, right? Anyway, here are my issues that I have. So there's 402, Part 1, 403. And I really like this book. I think it's fun. I like the art style. I love early 90s Marvel. There's the good cover, right? Cap Wolf. I really like this one. Captain America, even as a werewolf, maintaining his willpower, maintaining his ferocity, his gumption, and there's his evil doppelganger, right? See, he's got elf ears and a black costume and a razor shield. But it's fun, and I really enjoyed revisiting it for this segment, and I thought it was slam bang fantastic. The art's pretty good. It's solid. It's right up there with what you expect from Marvel at its time. And like I said, even though it wasn't Marvel's best-selling title at the time, I think the X-Men kind of overshadowed some of the really great stuff that Marvel was doing. And Mark Gruenwald's Captain America seems like one of those runs, because I have read bits of it, but not the entirety. He did it from 1985 until the time Mark Waid took over. And when Mark Waid and Ron Garney took over, that's when I first started reading it. But I did read a little bit of the Superior's Stratagem or whatever. But it's got me highly intrigued and interested in this run. I really like Mark Gruenwald. He is known to be a meticulous historian of continuity in comic books, and so much that even the Time Variance Authority in Walt Simonson's Fantastic Four run, it's all a bunch of Mark Gruenwalds, right? But I really like this writer. I really like this story. I think it's great. I know Cap Wolf gets a lot of shit from a lot of people, but I think it's completely ridiculous. And I think Cap Wolf is a great story. I love a werewolf story, and I love a Captain America story. And when you give me two solid examples of both combined, I love it. And there you go. That was tonight's segment of Marvel in the 90s. Man, I made those images fly by way too fast. Anyway. Yeah, Star Wolf's the greatest. I can tell y'all this is probably going to happen in the Atlantis segment too. We'll see what happens. Oh, thank y'all for the kind words. Fastest comic read ever. That's how Robbie reads through 40 books in a night. Samuel says that was so cool. Yes, Robbie. Amazing. I have to read that now, says Mike. That's my favorite Captain America story as a kid, says Herminio. Hell yeah. I remember when it happened. I always remember hearing about it, but I did not read it until recently. I don't think it's iffy. It's very solid and very appropriate for the time. It's very much like something like, I don't know, like Paul Ryan would have done or something like that. Nick says, because of Robbie, I started reading Spawn from the beginning and started reading Canto today. Hell yeah, influencing. No, those are great books. I think you'll really enjoy Canto. Canto's really great. Yeah, that's the danger sometimes. You know, when you do these live, you're trying to anticipate how long you need the images up, and you completely botch it. Completely botch it. I shouldn't have done this on a Teen Dog Shades night. What's wrong with me? At least it's just Cap Wolf, right? Maybe I can do some editing. But I had a lot of fun with that. That was really, really, really fun. So how are y'all doing? I need some questions. What do y'all want to talk about? Do you want to talk about comic books, movies, all that jazz? It's a Teen Dog Shades night, so we'll talk about anything. We got a segment on Atlantis coming up. We're about to take a deep dive. We got 42 people in here right now and 39 likes. So hit that thumbs up button, everybody. Oh, a Kanto cartoon would be fire. That would be amazing. That'd be so cool. Logan, what's up, Logan? Logan says, Robbie, that was a good story. I like the battle between Wolverine and Cyber as well. I have to check that one out. We got more to cover here on Marvel Comics in the 90s. What was that show again? Marvel Comics in the 90s. Eric, my X-Men team's doing great. I won the draft. I won it. The audience on the stream voted me as the winner. I won it. I had a great X-Men team. You should check out Everything Comics so you know exactly who that team was. I'd like to see more of these characters become PS4 games, Kanto game, Kill-Out game, and more. Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's go ahead and get into the next bit then. We're about to talk about it. Question of the week, everybody. Y'all ready for this? Anyway, just rambling now. What's wrong with me? What are your favorite superhero? Now we got 45 people in here and 43 likes. Let's get 2 more likes at least. Let's hit the same number. That'd be super cool. Question of the week. What is your favorite superhero comic book? Comic book superhero. Not a superhero from like TV or from a video game, but your favorite comic book superhero video game pre-2000. So 1999 and below. What are your favorite video game comic book superheroes? Brian says it was me. I forgot to hit like. I knew it was you. I knew it was you, Fredo. Nick says, I want to read all the Dark Knight's metal stuff. I have read Batman New 52 and Rebirth. Is there anything else I need to read before the metal stuff? No, just go right into metal. Then after metal, go into Justice League, No Justice. And then go into Scott Snyder's Justice League run. And then read Batman Superman 1 through 5 at least. And then read the Batman Who Laughs miniseries by Jock and Scott Snyder. And then read Hell Arisen. That's right, You're the Villain, Hell Arisen 1 through 4. By James Tynion and Steve Epting and others. And then you'll be ready for Metal 2. Epoch says Turtles in Time. All right, your favorite comic book superhero video games from 1999 and before. This does not include that Spider-Man game that came out in 2000. So that's what we're going to do. My number 5, X-Men. From 1993, Sega Genesis. I love this game. You play Gambit, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, and Cyclops. But you get help from other X-Men like Jean Grey and Storm. Really cool game, and I loved playing this platformer game. Number 4, Silver Surfer for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I believe this one came out in, let me find my notes, 1990, yes, 1990. I like this game. There are elements of it from Cavern of Mars, the Atari game. This game was hard as hell, but I love playing it. It's very frustrating, and this is a very funny GIF because it's very appropriate to this game. You will definitely die more than you succeed in this game, but it's very fun to me, and I like it. Number 3, Maximum Carnage. That's right. I enjoyed playing this on the Super Nintendo, but it was pretty decent on the Genesis as well. But I was always a Nintendo guy. This is from 1994, based on the Maximum Carnage series. A great crossover. That's one of my favorite comic books of all time. I loved it back in the day. Loved it. Fantastic. But Maximum Carnage was great. It's a side-scroller, beat-em-up game. But you get to play Spider-Man. You get to play Venom. You get to play basically the entire story arc of Maximum Carnage. And it's really fun. At number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 1989 is the arcade game. It eventually came out on the NES as Turtles 2, the arcade game. I love this game. You could not go to the skating rink or the arcade and not find a giant, massive wallop of people all behind this game. I absolutely loved it. And yes, the X-Men game that was just like this one is exceptional as well, but I like this one better than the X-Men one. That's why it made the top 5. However, my number one favorite pre-2000 superhero comic book video game is Spider-Man and the X-Men Arcade's Revenge for the Super Nintendo. I love the hell out of this game. It's not necessarily easy, or at least not easy for me, but you get to play Spider-Man and a variety of other X-Men, and I really like it. I think it's super fun, and I just enjoy it. This is probably one of the first superhero games I ever really played outside of that really crappy Wolverine and also the X-Men game for NES, but it really just kind of got me excited, and I really loved it. And now I'm eager to see what y'all think. Herminio says Maximum Carnage was a great comic and game. Mikey says, really love Separation Anxiety, the sequel to Maximum Carnage. That was a good one too. It was considered. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, SNES, and Punisher, Genesis. Yeah, that Punisher game's fire. The Punisher game for the NES is good too. Blade PS1. This may have been 2000. I never played that Blade game, so I don't know, but I heard about it. Herminio, everybody sucks at that Silver Surfer game. Yeah, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game is fire. Super fire. I spent a lot of money on that giant X-Men game. Hell yeah, Bob. Me too. But those are my favorites. So here we are on Teen Dog Shades Night. 2 hours into the stream, pretty much. Nick says, got to get back to work. Thanks for the shout out, Robbie. We'll watch the full show tomorrow. Peace, PCP Army. Hell yeah. Batman Returns for Genesis. I remember that one. That was a good one. That was a good one. That was a hell of a good one. I'll tell y'all what. We're 2 hours in. We got the Atlanta stream to get into, the Atlantis bit. And then we're going to be doing show and tell, of course. So we're going to take a very quick break here. Very quick. We'll be right back for the third act of Teen Dog Shades Night. Hey everybody, welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers, Rockin Robbie live for the final act of a Teen Dog Shades night. How's everybody doing? Y'all still hanging in? We got a little bit more excitement for you tonight. We do appreciate you being here. Melphis X1 says, my top 5 superhero comic book video games are Batman and Robin for the Sega, TMNT Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo, Punisher and Nick Fury the arcade game, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Arcade PS1, hell yeah. Great picks. So, any questions, get them in right now. This show is fueled by your questions. Right now, in the final act, I want some crazy questions. We started off with some, and that was great. Let's get some more in, because right now we're about to talk about Atlantis. Atlantis. It's a story about a civilization that thought too highly of themselves and got brought down by the gods. It was written by Plato. It was written in about 360 BC, possibly based on an older legend, allegorical. It was written in Timaeus and Critias. That's where you get the mentions of it. Allegedly, this happened 9,000 years before Plato's time, this civilization of Atlantis. It was known to have concentric circles of land and water. And like I said, they were a highly advanced civilization that got sunk by an earthquake into the sea. He apparently got this from Solon. Solon was a philosopher in Greece, but he had a visit to ancient Egypt around 590 to 580 BC, and this is allegedly where he got the story of Atlantis. So much so that Atlantis has completely captured the fictional imagination. Tons of stories. What are the facts? Well, the facts are that it was land on an island, concentric circles of land and water, red, white, black rock composed Atlantis. It was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we know to be the Strait of Gibraltar. So that puts it into the Atlantic Ocean, obviously. So a lot of people have looked, and also he mentions there are elephants there. But a lot of people put this as a giant landmass in the Atlantic Ocean that sank. Now, we know that that's kind of BS. That's not possible. So that made other people look to the Americas. Some people think the Mayan civilization could be the prototypical Atlantis. Look at the buildings, the designs, things like that. Other people think of the Minoans, a Mediterranean island. That's where the Minotaur story comes from, obviously. Then we also have the idea of the Bimini Road in the Bahamas, though this is just natural stuff. This is Thomas More. He wrote the book Utopia, which is based kind of on the idea of what Atlantis is. And this is Madame Blavatsky, who was part of she was interested in the origin of spirituality, and she had a lot of shit to say about Atlantis. This, of course, is Ignatius Donnelly, who wrote Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. And nowadays we have Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock. And I want to point out some images of Göbekli Tepe, because a lot of people say that a civilization couldn't be this old. But Göbekli Tepe was discovered in Turkey, modern-day Turkey, and it is that old. It's older than 9,000 years before Plato's time, right? So what I want to talk about, and I did that way better than the Capwolf video, didn't I? So I'm proud of myself. Anyway, the spirit's moving me. It wasn't a Capwolf night, but it's an Atlantis night, so let's talk about this. I think all those people trying to find Atlantis out there in the Atlantic Ocean, I think it's... So most historians would agree that it's an allegorical tale that Plato is telling, right? And this is something that he does. If you read the works of Plato, he uses parables just like Christ did, for instance, right? We're getting Teen Dog Shadesy right now, y'all. So get into it. Any Hancock fans, celebrate. We're about to get to that point. So you get all these people that think it's in the Bahamas, in the Bermuda Triangle area. That's BS. That's whatever. And there's a lot of compelling visual sights underwater in that area that, maybe those look like steps or some kind of ancient structure. No. And we know 100% there was not an island, a giant continent, because I think I'm pretty sure if you look at Timaeus and Critias, and like if you look at it, like Atlantis is supposed to be this huge mass, right? But I would ask, is there a problem with the idea that we are looking at the physical description that Plato gives of Atlantis, a story in his time that would have already been older. Now, Plato's pretty much the only Atlantis reference we have, at least the first, and everything else seems based on that, right? However, is it just an allegory? Is it just something made up? I don't think so. I think the Solon thing, in ancient Egypt, I think that makes sense. I think it ties into the idea. So basically, it's beyond the Atlantic Ocean. That leads people to think about the Mayan idea. Is the Mayan culture or the Aztec culture or even the Olmecs? The Aztecs are not old enough to be Atlantis, obviously. But are the Mayans? What's the date of the Mayans? I should have looked this up, but, whatever. But here's the thing. Plato, and here's a big thing. Was Plato being allegorical? I personally think yes. Why? Because contemporaries and people afterwards thought so. Aristotle himself thought that Plato was this story was a parable. It was a thought experiment, right? It was supposed to be about a civilization that's reaching too high. He just written about his ideal government, the Athenian government, right? The republic, right? You ever read that, right? So he's kind of showing the other side of that. He's inverting that. What happens when a society gets too high on themselves, right? Smoking their own supply and whatnot. However, Plato would often take legends, folklore from other cultures and kind of use them. And that's just the way storytelling goes, because Plato was a storyteller, right? So we could look at it and say Plato was a storyteller, so Atlantis doesn't exist. And I would be like, I get what you're saying. Plato was a storyteller, so Atlantis probably didn't exist. However, I personally believe that almost every legend is based on something. These lies don't last long, in my experience. So there's some element of truth to this story. Where is it? Well, we look at the idea that he got it from Solon, right? He went to ancient Egypt, where according to Plato, does the story of Atlantis originate? Ancient Egypt. People are trying to figure out why ancient Egypt just appears all of a sudden able to build giant pyramids and temples and do crazy things that we can't figure out how they did it today, right? Still, right? How did that happen? And then you look at Robert Schoch's dating of the Sphinx, and that's very compelling water erosion evidence that he's talking about with John Anthony West. Does that civilization go back further? And a lot of the people that have their ideas about where Atlantis could be, the Americas idea leads more credence to me in an aspect of it. I think the whole idea about the island being sunk into the ocean is completely made up, and that's part of the fable, this part of the story, the morale of that story. It's dramatized, but the idea of an ancient civilization existing makes sense to me. Why? The ancient Egyptians just didn't show up building giant pyramids. What came before? Look at the dating of the Sphinx. Look at Robert Schoch's dating of the Sphinx. Look at that evidence. Look at what's going on there. I think it could be older. A lot of people disagree. Let's call it pseudoscience, whatever. That guy that did the antediluvian book, what's his name? Irigitus? It's something. What's his name? I wrote it down. Donnelly. Ignitus Donnelly. I wrote that antediluvian world book. Antediluvian means pre-flood. Everybody has this. It seems like almost every culture, every religious and spiritual experience has this idea of this great catastrophe that happened in the past. So I could totally see a worldwide catastrophe happening and stunting the growth of civilization and stopping and halting it. And then they build back up from that. And then that cataclysm, that catastrophe, would become the flood story, would become the Atlantis story, right? So to me, that makes more sense. So I like the idea of looking to the Americas. I also like the idea of looking in other places in the region, but just way older than they're expecting. And when they said back in the day that no civilization could have existed back in the supposed alleged day of Atlantis, well, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. There you go. There's a lot more out there than we have found. And that's the biggest. Chris, I don't think that the circular structures of the temple in Göbekli Tepe are Atlantis, but it is coincidental. The only reason why I don't want to put too much weight to that idea of it is because there are a lot of other places where they find that circular concentric idea in geography or in the landscape, and they use that to prove the existence of Atlantis. And I think that the important thing about Atlantis is not the idea that it was this very specific geographical region and landscape and cityscape with these very important ideas. And one of the reasons why people think the Mannonians were possible candidate for Atlantis is because they worshiped the bulls, and bull sacrifice is mentioned, as well as elephants. That blows it out. But back in the caverns of that island Minos or whatever, where the Minotaur legend comes from, they have found little like ancient like skeletal remains of like early elephants. So that's kind of interesting and compelling, but I don't know. You know, it just seems silly. I think the important thing about Atlantis is that it was a story, but it was based on a legend. And the legend ties into all these cultures that have an idea of an advanced civilization. Now, when we say advanced civilization, we're not talking about aliens floating around on hovercraft and shit like that. That's not at least what I'm thinking about. But just some higher, like maybe mankind hit a peak at some point, a catastrophe happened, and there is evidence, and look into the work of Randall Carlson for that. There is evidence that there was some catastrophe, especially in the Western Hemisphere, around that time, around the so-called time that Göbekli Tepe was buried and forgotten about, around the time that Atlantis was around and allegedly destroyed, around the time that certain pharaohs of Egypt were supposed to have reigned, depending on, you know, what the walls of certain temples say. Like, there's a lot of interesting information. And I think the biggest problem is this. We as an archaeological humanity, like our archaeological consensus, thinks that we kind of know, we got it. This is our model. And anything that breaks that model, and this isn't just archaeology or even just science. This is life. This happens to you. This happens to me. When something breaks your model, you don't want to accept it. You get what I'm saying? So the story of Atlantis, obviously, no, we're not saying that an island sank to the sea and now all of a sudden Aquaman are all over the place. That's not what we're talking about. But the idea, to me, of an advanced civilization, and when we say advanced, we don't mean like they have cell phones and smartphones. They do all that. It's a different level of advancement. It's more advanced than what we thought civilization was, because there's a lot of compelling evidence when you look at it and be like, so we just started as civilizations building these things all over the world, and then there are things that are tied in together. And the reason why people thought the Mayans tied into the Atlantis myth is that look at the pyramids in ancient Egypt and look at the pyramids in the Mayan culture and even the Aztec culture. And there's a lot of bits. And you definitely read Fingerprints of the Gods and America Before and Magicians of the God by Graham Hancock. You'll learn a lot more about this. And there's an audible versions in which Graham narrates them, and he has a beautiful, elegant British accent. So definitely check those out. But yeah, I think that's absolutely fascinating to me. So I think there's something behind the myth of Atlantis. I don't think Atlantis itself was a real thing. I don't think there was a giant continent in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that sank. That's pretty much been proven wrong. We've been able to explore the ocean floor. Not completely in detail, but we would know if there was some kind of land mass, a giant one, and it's described as a giant one with a city in it, if it fell, right? We that's kind of bunked, right? Debunked, I guess. If it's bunked, I guess that's true. It's weird. Anyway, but the idea, once again, another example of an advanced ancient civilization that at a certain point in human history was destroyed by a massive cataclysm. That's very compelling to me. And that's what I think is the importance of the Atlantis myth. And most of it gets sidetracked by outlandish ideas behind movies and other fiction, and that's fine, and I dig it. You know I dig that shit. But the real story, and let's not forget about this, is that we don't know everything about the past of humanity on this planet. At all. And when Reggie started out this Teen Dog Shades night with the Super Chat, celebrating the PCP Army and a Teen Dog Shades night, and the recent acquisition of a Joker van and a new microphone. If anybody wants to see that Joker video again, y'all know what's up. But the most compelling thing to me is that yet again, we have the same old story. There's a pre-flood society, a pre-cataclysm civilization. The evidence keeps stacking up, and I think it's true. So is Atlantis real? In my estimation, no. But the idea behind it is based on something very real to me. And I want to know more. So I wish that the scientists, the archaeologists, would make a concerted effort to look beyond the model and try to uncover a little bit more truth. Because we never, ever, as a collective even, know everything. So there's the Atlantis segment. I think that went way better than the Capwolf segment, personally. That's just me personally, but, Devin says, hell yes, Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock rules. Hell yeah. Where was Namor in all this? Yeah, exactly, right? Being trimmed up by Bill Everett. But Plato didn't refer to Atlantis as a fable like he did the other fables he talked about that had been passed down to him. But that's why I think there's an element of truth behind it. There's been a place in Africa people are suspecting could be Atlantis due to geographic similarities. See, Brian, once again, I think that's the problem. It's not we don't have to prove Plato right. We have to prove the idea of a civilization from that day and age and before right. It could be anything. Y'all know how story goes. We talked about the telephone game earlier. Fairly certain Atlantis was the whole of the antediluvian world. The Nymphalem megaliths epoch, that's very interesting. And one, I get what you're saying. Machu Picchu, Punko, Nimrod Fortress. People are arguing outside. Y'all can't hear it, but I can. This has been happening. Like, new people moved in all of a sudden in this apartment complex, and they fighting all the damn time. Like, y'all need to just split. If y'all are out in the parking lot screaming at each other all the time, that's over. Eric has the most profound thought of the night. Our civilization existing is what doesn't make sense to me. Every culture has a legend of a great flood. Every culture has a legend of a great cataclysm, for sure. Did you just see that they discovered an Egyptian tomb from 10,000 BC in Turkey last year? Interesting. I think Egypt got around and had a deep understanding of history. I did not. Epoch says Syria and India also have amazing megaliths. Yes, all over. Epoch says the governments of the world use a lot, and I mean a lot, of occult Egyptian symbology. Yes, they do. You know why? Because it works. Proven. Got lost in America before, need to reread or re-listen. Go Audible. Yeah, Audible's a good one. What is the message the tale of Atlantis is trying to convey? Red Rick, the message is the idea of a civilization thinking too much of themselves. It's very much like the Tower of Babel story. It's the flood story in a bunch of different, it's not just the Bible, it's like, the Epic of Gilgamesh, there's a whole bunch. Civilization hits a point of pride in what they're doing, a point where they're too prideful and they're not humble, and they have to be destroyed and brought back down to reality by the gods in some kind of cataclysm. And what we would all say, those of us that are into this idea, is that all those myths are based on an actual cataclysm that happened pretty much worldwide at a certain point. And that point is usually about 12,800 years ago or something. But the message that the tale of Atlantis is trying to convey is the hubris of a nation and an individual can lead to downfall in an instant by nature. Jack Kirby would have loved the Graham Hancock stuff, Chris. You're 100% right. 100%. So that is Aquaman and Namor because of the mystique and allure of Atlantis. Absolutely. It's an interesting, compelling argument. You got Blavatsky, you got Donnelly, you got a lot of other people using this idea of the utopia, and even the Nazis were looking for ancient Atlantis and Lemuria and things like that. Because, for instance, they thought that the Aryan race was descended from the Atlanteans. So this has been common since that. It's been a fascination of humankind. And I just, like I said, I don't think lies last that long. Maybe they do. I think misreports, misconceptions, misinterpretations happen and survive decades and millenniums and eons. But I don't think lies last that long. There's something behind that. Or maybe I just want to think that there's something behind that. So there you go. Yeah, I really think Kirby was really into some of these ideas based on his work on New Gods and the Eternals. What are your favorite comics that tap into this idea? Well, Chris just named them. Eternals, New Gods, decently a little bit, but mostly the Eternals probably does it the best. Earth X is a good one too. But they're more just, the Graham Hancock stuff is some great stuff to read. And also Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson did some podcasts with Joe Rogan that are very, very cool. They did a few. You should watch all of them. Hell yeah. We're about to get to the show and tell portion of the segment now, or the show now, I should say. And then the final 9. So we got some things to open up, some things to share. First of all, y'all know I've been collecting these Fantastic Four pops. I'm almost done. I got one more right here. And after this, there's pretty much just Silver or Super Scroll. There's Mole Man. Let's open them up. Take a look at them. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? This is a Teen Dog Shade night. This is your last chance tonight to get me distracted and sparked on something. Or to share your thoughts about the whole the Diluvian and all that stuff. So there's the Mole Man right there. I'm not much on Hollow Earth theory, but I do want to do a deep dive into it one day. No pun intended. That Mole Man pop looks great. Just got Super Scroll left and a couple of variants to get. So y'all know I've been watching these Hot Wheels races on YouTube. So I've been getting Hot Wheels. Me and some of my friends are getting into Hot Wheels. So I got some Hot Wheels today. I got a 69 Chevelle. That's the tuned version, so it's done goofy. These ones don't apparently race very well, but I wanted a 69 Chevelle. So let's open this up. Yeah, Chris, I got the Silver Surfer pop. I'll show it to you in a second. I'm going to take these and see how they do at the track tomorrow at the Deep. This is the tuned version, so it's kind of like cartoony-esque. It's not as cartoony as some of the ones I've seen, so I'm eager to see how it goes. But you see how the back tire is way bigger. Yeah, and my favorite color, green. This one is a Dodge Challenger drift car. Look at that one. This one is a Dodge Challenger. I want a Charger. I want a black Charger like Blade. But I haven't found one of those yet. I'm kind of limited because I'm only going to one grocery store right now. There you go. Eager to see how this one performs on the track. If you're interested in the Hot Wheels racing, there's some great YouTube channels like Ghost Jerker, but I highly recommend 3D Bot Maker. before I open up this last one. There's my Silver Surfer pop, Chris. It's on a platform, so he's raised above. And behind me, you'll see I got the rest of my Fantastic Four pops, including Galactus. So there's that. What new release DC Comics coming out are you most looking forward to this week? Flash and Green Lantern. Very excited for that. So I've been getting these Masters of the Universe figures, and now we're doing Buzz Off. Opened up Trapjaw not too long ago. Tonight we're going to open up Buzz Off. So let's do it. It's got two heads. One to be more like the, original design that was in the comic book. And one to be more like the action figure. So these are done by Super 7. Man, this is not coming out easy. Oh, that's the worst thing to happen. Look at that. It's ruined. This is the damn worst thing to happen when you're opening an action figure. Y'all know it. Damn it. Well, I'd already resigned myself to the idea that I wasn't keeping the cards. I have so far, but come on, let's be honest. Nobody has that room. So this line of figures is meant to take the original toy, the animated series, the comic series, and put it together into a more animated series accurate version of the character. This is Buzz Off. He's the bee dude. Like I said, he's got two heads. Shit. He's got some weapons. He's got two sets of wings. They kind of look the same. Oh, he's got his joust stick. They're still out there arguing. Isn't that crazy? I guess that's in case you lose one, because they're literally the same wings. But that's cool that they give you two. Never mind. That's so stupid. They give you two because he has four wings. Like a bee. Yeah, I love these figures. Got to get a Buzz Off. That's nice. And here he's got his lance, he's got a little axe, and he's got his second head. Yeah, Chris, that is how not to open a figure. So there's his little lance joust thing. There's his axe. There's his other head. Kind of like the one he has on more right now, but I think this is more toy accurate or show accurate, I think. This is more original toy accurate. But yeah, got a Buzz Off. Got a Buzz Off. Jesse say, what? Here Super 7 might do a Silverhawk? Come on. Don't tease me. I would love that. I would love that so much. Mike got a new Cadillac. I'm excited to race you tomorrow, buddy. It's Sex and the City, isn't it? It's in the city? I thought it was Sex and the City. Sex and the City. I don't know. I never watched that show. What do you think about the 3 declassified videos of unexplained aerial phenomenon recently released by the military? Red Rick, we covered this very early on tonight. But I think the important thing is that the Pentagon admitted they were real, and it led me into this whole tirade about Tom DeLonge and all this kind of stuff, but it was at the beginning. Mario Lego said I have to check that out. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Jay-Z says in the city, and then people start remembering it differently, right? Now it's time for the final 9. We started off with the first 6, all atomics, so here's the final 9. Issue number 7, introducing the skunk. Issue number 8. In this series, The Atomics, Mike Allred was really expanding the world of Madman. Issue number 8. Love this cover. Issue number 10. That's just the quirkiness of Allred right there. Issue number 11, The Return of the Cadaver. Very much a tribute to old school. Issue number 12. Like I said, if you're a Madman fan, you definitely have to read The Atomics if you haven't already. Issue number 13, featuring Savage Dragon. Issue number 14, featuring Savage Dragon. And the final issue, issue number 15, featuring Savage Dragon. No, Herminio, I showed the first 6, now I showed the final 9. But that's all 15 issues of The Atomics. That brings us to the end of the show, to the end of a Teen Dog Shades night. We had a lot of fun. Thank you so much. We're about to do the intro again. If you missed it, or if you liked it, you can watch it again. But thank you guys so much for checking out the video. We really do appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Rockin Robbie. You can join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can support us over at patreon.com/PCP. You can do so with the Super Chat, or you can just watch, like, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You can check out popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. So I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. We really do appreciate it, y'all. Y'all are the best. We have a lot of fun. Be sure at some point this upcoming weekend, we're doing a Rockin Robbie live stream, and we'll see what happens. Y'all have a good one. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on Rockin Robbie Live. We'll see you next time. Thanks for rocking with us.